Nolan, good to see you. Today we get to talk about 5 year-end money moves for a better 2025. The end of the year is always a great time to start thinking about your finances for the upcoming year. So we are sharing 5 tips to help you get on track for 2025. First, do a budget checkup and shore up that emergency fund.
Thanks, Erin. Yeah, first, primary should always be primary. Get in tune with your budget. Make sure
Yeah.
you know how much you spend each month and how much you get in each month. And then make sure that your emergency fund is adequately funded. This is where money maybe piles up during the year or where you maybe tap into money during the year if it's a little bit more expensive. So
Mhm.
just make sure that you check in on your emergency fund and also update your budget for 2025.
Mhm. Next, max out your Roth IRA or consider a conversion.
We usually suggest Roth IRAs, at least when you're contributing funds, because we do expect tax rates to be a little bit higher in the future. Based on your situation, you can always talk about traditional IRAs, but we love Roth IRA contributions. You have
Mhm.
up until tax filing time for Roth contributions, but for Roth conversions, as you mentioned, Erin, a conversion is when you take money from an IRA or qualified pre-tax account and move it over into a Roth. You pay tax on that transaction, but that's usually something that you want to wrap up before the end of the year as well.
Right. Speaking of those tax advantaged accounts, we should also max out those HSAs, uniquely triple tax advantaged.
Right. The HSAs, the money that you put into them is tax deductible, meaning that you don't pay income tax on that as though it were income. You pay no tax on the growth in those accounts because you can invest them into mutual funds and different funds available. And then as long as you use the withdrawals for qualified medical expenses, it's tax free on the withdrawal as well.
Mhm.
So after the Roth IRAs, after conversions, HSA max, and maybe that's around $4,000 per person, is a very good next place to go.
Mhm. Next, offset your gains by harvesting losses. How does this work?
So this is unique to like non-qualified accounts, so
Okay.
brokerage accounts or joint investment accounts. Now, what you can do is in a year like 2024, where maybe you've had a very significant gain in the market, or 2023, when you've had a very significant gain in the market, maybe you have an opportunity to sell some assets in those non-qualified accounts at a loss. And so what you can do is you can offset some of your capital gains or some of the taxable gains with a deductible write-off through those losses. There are a lot of different calculations that maybe go into this, but there are different rules around it. You can't buy and sell within 30 days and do this multiple
Yeah.
times and stipulations. But that's in a nutshell what a tax loss harvest is. You're
Mhm.
selling something at a loss to offset a capital gain so that you don't have a tax bill during a good year.
And as you mentioned, it really has been a great year for the stock market, which means it is also probably a good time to rebalance.
For sure. And a lot of 401ks, 403bs have now developed automatic rebalancing. So what we've been doing for folks is as we've been helping rebalance the accounts we manage, and they set their 401k allocations too, it's good to rebalance these every 3 to 6 months maybe. So as you have good years in the stock market, like we've had the past couple, and your stock allocations become so much more than your bond allocations in those accounts, it's good to rebalance and buy back into a good mix of stocks and bonds.
Mhm.
Lock in the gains on the stocks. Don't sell all of them, but sell down to an appropriate amount, because not
Mhm.
everybody's comfortable with 80% equities or 80% stocks in their
Right.
portfolio.
Right. Need to make sure we're always in line with our risk tolerance.
Sure thing.
And then last, a lot of us make charitable donations at the end of the year. If this is you, you might want to consider a qualified charitable distribution.
Yeah, and a QCD, or a qualified charitable distribution, is basically where you take money directly out of your qualified plan. It could be 401k, but most time it's an IRA by this point. You're taking money out of an IRA, you're taking your required distribution that the government makes you take out of your account, and you're donating it directly to a charity. Now, some people choose local charities or ones that they care about. Some people choose their churches. If they give on a weekly or monthly basis, you can give one big lump out of your IRA. And what you're doing when you do these QCDs is you're avoiding anybody having to pay tax on the money that you take out of these accounts. So if it goes from the IRA directly to the charity, you don't pay income tax on it. It can satisfy your required minimum distribution, so the government mandated withdrawal, and the charity won't pay tax on the gains that you've had in that account as well. So another really good tax benefit. And towards the end of the year is when most people like to have these shored up. Yep.
Right. This is when I always want to alert people who are donating in the collection plate as it passes by. There is a more tax advantaged way to do that.
Right. And it doesn't mean that you don't have to give on a weekly basis either. It's just you can give in one big lump and get a big tax break from it and still participate on a weekly basis, just in a different way.
A win-win for everybody. Nolan, if somebody would like to talk through anything that we've covered today, what's the best way to reach you?
So they can call us at 616-301-2581 or our website, which is cornerstone-rp.com. And there's a contact us box at the bottom of the homepage, and you can ask any questions that you have there.
Great. Nolan, thank you.
Thanks, Erin.